I'm Masego Thole, and I'm back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about how to stay productive as a student. So times are really tough, and especially being a student, having to study from home and be productive, because at the end of the year you're expected to do well and pass, but the motivation might not be there. I understand, to be honest, and I sympathize with you a lot. And I just I was just thinking about how at this moment it must be like so hard, having to study from home and being responsible for your own academic life right now. Sometimes we do not all have the support system that we need at this very crucial time, because this is a very very important time. It is now August. Second semester goes by really fast, and before you know it, it's exam times now. I don't really know how the exams are going to be for everyone. I know some people are going to be writing in December, but some people are only going to write in January. So yeah, but even then, you have to prepare right now as if you're writing tomorrow. So you need to be ready at all times. And we do not all have that support system in our families. And if you do have someone who supports you at home, you need to consider yourself very lucky, because that is very rare to find. As maybe in your family it's like a very common thing, and you are probably very irritated by your parents telling you to study all the time. But think of someone who doesn't even have someone to tell them to study or to remind them of studying. And you are very blessed, and you need to really listen to your parents, or if you have like older siblings or like older cousins and they tell you that you need to be studying, you need to be studying. Listen to them. It's very important that you take advice from people. Don't just sit by the TV the whole day, or on your phone, on social media. This is not the time. It's not the time, honey. All right, not to say that you should not be on it completely, but you need to schedule your time very well, and you need to schedule productivity. Now, being on your phone is not productivity, it's just leisure time. You can't spend 5 hours on your phone and count that as like being on a break and then go sleep. No, sleeping is a break. So being outside is a break, and being on your phone is sort of like it's a waste of concentration, because you're on your books, you're staring at something, and you need to concentrate. And then when you're on your break, you're on your phone for 3 hours, and that's you focusing on something on a screen. And so you need to let your eyes rest. Go outside and get some fresh air, and and come back with a fresh mind. You can't come back from a fresh mind from staring at your phone the whole time. So the thing is, when you're at home right now, there's no timetable. Like how in school you have a timetable of the different times you need to be in certain classes. You don't have that when you're at home. So it's very important. I don't know. It's August. If you don't have that already, I don't know what's happening, right? And as much as there are schools that are up to date, with the syllabus and with having their students, stay on track of their schoolwork. Actually, I did not know this. And my cousin, who is in grade 10 at the moment, told me that, in their school, when the lockdown started, which was when did the lockdown start? Like the end of February, the 21st, I think no, it wasn't the 21st. Something of February, the first lockdown, when lockdown started. So they had communication from their school in the first week of being in lockdown, and that's basically been it. So this whole time from March until now, this was in July when she told me this, And I'm like, oh, I was so mad. Oh, it made no sense. Like, how does that even happen? How does that even happen? So they were in communication with them, and they give them material or the things that they needed, in the first week of lockdown. And after that, it's been quiet since. So they don't even know what's happening with these kids. And if you're not self-motivated, honestly, you could fall behind a lot. And if you don't have parents or older siblings who are encouraging and help you study and sit by the table each time, then oh my gosh, it's a lot of we got problems. All right, South Africa, we got problems. Okay, so number one, you need time management. Time management is very important. You need to have a routine. So you need to wake up at the same time every single day, go to sleep at the same time every single day, and in between, do the same things every single day, right? So if you're gonna wake up at 6 a.m., for instance, and you need to have a schedule, be realistic with your time. I know that sometimes we get carried away. When you are writing a schedule, you feel powerful and you feel focused and determined, and you have the energy, and you're like, no, I'm definitely gonna do this. And you have a list of a whole bunch of things that you need to do in one day, and then at the end of the day you do nothing. Or maybe you complete just one of the tasks, but because you have overwhelmed yourself. That's the thing with the brain. When it sees too much things going on, it just shuts down. It's like, it's too much, right? So don't make it too much. Break it down into smaller parts, but make it more effective. You know yourself. If you can go 2 hours straight studying without taking breaks, then utilize that. You know what I mean? The thing also about studying is that you need to study as if you're taking the exam. So your focus level needs to be, or your concentration level needs to be on the same length as if you were writing an exam. So if you have exams that are 3 hours long, and you just study for 10 minutes and then you're tired, that's not very effective, because realistically, when you're in an exam, you have to focus for 3 whole hours. Now, if you have not trained your brain to focus for that long, it can be really challenging in an exam, having to stretch your mind. So the thing about practicing, studying is practicing for the exam, right? So you are practicing every single technique. You are practicing to take the exam. So everything that you would need in an exam, apply that when you're studying, so that it's not a huge jump or an adjustment when you have to take your exam. So what they used to teach us in school was that if you've never had to study 3 hours straight, then it would not make sense for you to just give yourself 3 hours of a study block. That's just not it. You're gonna not be productive for most of the time. So start small and then add on to it each day or maybe each week, right? But at this moment, we don't have much time. It's August. It's, let's say, September, because basically the month is over. So what you need to do is that in your study breaks, you need to start off by, let's say, 45 minutes. So give yourself a 45-minute time slot, and then in that 45 minutes, you know that you are studying in those 45 minutes. No disturbances, nothing. It's you and the books. And then after the 45, you time yourself. So this is when you start, and then this is after the 45 minutes. You might have an alarm clock or something, and then you take your break after the 45 minutes. And then after the break, you take like a 5-minute break, or let's say like a 10-minute break, right? So in those 10 minutes, you can go, to the bathroom. You can maybe check, if you have messages, but just check. Don't be on social media, because then you won't come back to studying. And then just walk around, maybe go outside, get some fresh air, come back, and then sit for another 45 minutes, and then you accumulate all those hours. So yes, then the next time when you are used to studying effectively for 45 minutes straight without losing focus, then you can add on to 50 minutes. And then when you're good with that, you can go 55, an hour, and then so on and so on. And eventually, when you have had enough practice, honestly, it's very easy to just sit down for longer periods. So back to our schedule. So when you wake up, this you don't do the schedule on the day, obviously. You prepare for the schedule the entire week and you repeat every single week the same thing. So it's very important to stick to a routine because your mind and your body are already used to doing things in a certain order. Having to derail from that takes a lot of energy and effort to come back. So we are trying our best not to, you know, not go against our schedule. So here's what you do. You write down your schedule in the morning. So you have columns, you have the different columns, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all the way up to Sunday. You write it down as 24 hours. It's more effective when you see the entire time that you have in a day. So start from midnight and end all the way up to midnight, right? And then obviously between midnight obviously between midnight and 6 a.m. when you need to be waking up, that will be that block. You'll just write the fact that you'll be sleeping. So it's important to not just fill up your schedule with things to do, but rather making your eyes see the fact that you are going to be taking breaks, and because your brain tells you, okay, cool, I'm gonna be taking a break, so I can work, and then my reward is taking a break. So if you just see things to do, it's like, when am I gonna take a break? But even though, you could say that, from 6 to 7 and then I have an hour break, but then the fact that you didn't write break on that hour, then you see another from 7 to 8, like, oh my gosh, when am I resting? So your brain needs to see the fact that, I'm gonna get a reward. So write down the times when you're not gonna be studying. So between this time and this time, I'm going to be sleeping, and then I wake up, and then every single activity that you do in the day, you need to write down, because oftentimes the day goes by and we're like, what did I do today? What did I do today? You do not know what you did. You know that you woke up, you did 1, 2, 3, but other than that, like, what happened to a whole 3 hours of my time? You don't know. So the thing about it is that you don't factor in the fact that you have to wake up, and the fact that you're waking up at 6 a.m., most of the time you don't just spring out of bed, It takes a whole 5 minutes sometimes to just adjust and be like, okay, I'm getting up. It takes longer sometimes, but if it takes longer, then, set your alarm for maybe 5 minutes to 6, like a few minutes before with waking up time, so that you actually wake up. But if you can wake up at 6, then great, 6 a.m., you're up. And then brushing your teeth, write it down, taking a bath, write it down, eating breakfast, every single activity that you do in the morning, that little routine. If you have a skincare routine that takes a whole hour, put it there, Ooh, that must be nice. And a whole hour of skin routine. But that's just an example, right? Whatever that it is that you do in the morning, exactly write it down. And then write down that from 7:30, you're on your desk, and then you're going to be studying. So from this time to this time, you're going to be studying, and then this is when I'm going to take a break. This time to this time is when I'm going to study. This time is when I'm going to be eating. And in that break, you need to make sure that you do come back, right? That's why I'm saying it's important to take breaks, so that you know that you are not overworking yourself, right? And you come back, and then the whole day you've completed every single day, even after studying. Write down what it is that you do after studying. Do you cook maybe? Do you have to clean the dishes? What is it that you have to do? And then when you're done, maybe you have a night routine where you clean your face for nighttime, brushing your teeth. Write all of that down, and then exactly the time when you need to go to bed, because otherwise you're going to be on your phone the whole time, and not be sleeping for like a whole 4 hours, and then the fact that you have to wake up at 6 in the morning, then you've ruined your whole schedule. So it's important to stick by a certain routine exactly the way that it needs to be. If you're at home and you're staying with your family, then you do understand that sometimes it can be challenging studying from home, because not all our family members are respectful of our time as students. So they are used to having things done in the moment. So explain to them, or maybe even give them your schedule, the schedule that you have, the timetable of the day that you're gonna have. Let them know when you're gonna be studying, when you take breaks, then cool. If you are studying in your bedroom, then outside your bedroom door you can have a little paper, write it down on there saying that do not disturb, I'm studying. The thing about concentration is that it doesn't just happen, so when you have concentration and the fact that you're trying to stick to a certain routine, it is very important to explain to them that, hey, between this time and this time I'm supposed to be studying, so can you please not make things even more harder for me, and just give me my space. So if you're in your bedroom and they see the sign, then they should not call you. They'll call you afterwards, or they'll tell you about whatever that they were trying to tell you when you're done with your study block. But other than that, explain to them that when I'm studying, please do not disturb me, because it's really hard coming back into that zone. When you're in that zone, you need to be staying in that zone and utilizing it effectively. Also, just with the whole time management, if you are easily distracted by your phone, then you need to stay away from it. So you can switch it off. Don't put it on vibrate, because it's gonna vibrate and then you can still hear it vibrate. Put it away so you don't see it and you don't hear it. Well, the second point is the types of learning. It is very important. It is something that is so basic, but it can go a very long way for you and very beneficial if you know the type of learning style that you fall under. So I'm just gonna quickly run through them and then explain what they mean, but they are pretty self-explanatory. It's in the name. The first one is visual learner. The second one is auditory learners, or learners who learn from audio and sound. The third one is kinesthetic learners, or more hands-on. And the fourth one is reading and writing learners. Now, this learning style taps into your personality, and it's very important to link that together. Don't just learn information. That's why sometimes we struggle, because it's like we're forcing ourselves into a learning style that does not fit us, and that's why things are just not working out, right? So when you take the information and you put it in a way that suits you best, then you have done yourself a great service. So I'm just gonna quickly explain what they mean. So for the visual learners, it's, as I said, everything is in the name. You learn by seeing things. People who are visual learners remember information very quickly when it is visual and in diagrams, in maps, different colors, so that the information pops out at you and you retain information quicker that way. The second learning technique is auditory learners, and with them they learn way better when they hear things, so they learn with sound. So have you ever noticed like people in class who never make notes, but they're just staring at the teacher, but they're listening as they're staring, right? Well, they obviously study, but then they retain the maximum amount of their learning in just that class and in hearing and listening to the instructions. Instead of writing down your notes and making summaries on paper, rather record yourself reading some summaries or just reading a passage of some sort, so that whatever that you're doing that day, you can just listen to yourself. Even this is actually even more beneficial for auditory learners, because you could be doing anything and you're just listening to a sound and learning. So even as you're washing the dishes, even when you're cleaning the house, or you're brushing your teeth, making your bed, you can still be learning. Even on your drive somewhere, then you can still be learning. Yeah. With the auditory learners, like I said, it's not just about hearing stuff, but it's also about speaking the things that right? These types of learners function extremely well in like group discussions and like group studying or study groups. So you learn by explaining something. So the concept that you have retained, you explain it to someone. So you explaining things to someone helps you learn a lot more, and someone else explaining something back to you, and the whole back and forth of what happens in a study group, then that is your learning style. Then maximize on that. I feel like auditory learners have it nice, actually. Oh, imagine. And then kinesthetic learners, this is mostly what I lean towards, even though, also with these types of learning techniques, you will find yourself, not just stuck on the one, but one is always more dominant, but there's always a supporting act somehow. So with kinesthetic learners and more hands-on learners, you learn better when you do stuff, when things are more practical and being engaged. The thing about kinesthetic learners is that we love energy-based things. So like with activity, you are doing things, so we find learning more enjoyable, and we remember things when we do stuff rather than just hearing about them and like audio, you know what I mean? So we are more hands-on, and we like to problem solve and do stuff, so we enjoy very practical learning. The thing about it is that when someone explains something to me, most of the time I want to see them do it, right? So it's like some people understand best when you just explain something and then they're like, okay, cool, makes sense. But for me, I want to see you do it, and then I want to do it myself, and then I'm like, okay, cool, then I've got it, then I'll never forget it. So I see, I do, I learn. The final learning technique is reading and writing. So these are very, I'd say, author-like students. People who learn this way they just love pen and paper. It's their best friend. Anything that's written down is their best friend. They're cool with it. They love it, right? So these types of learners, books is what you live for, okay? Because you will have books on books on the same thing, because you have the textbook, you make summaries, and from those summaries you make summaries, so you have pages and pages and pages of notes, and that really works for you. So if you are reading and writing type of student, then really maximize writing down all the information, because you retain, it's like the more you repeat as you're writing, the more you retain the information. So do that if that is your learning style. So like I said, it's like these are very basic things that you would assume that, obviously I like hearing, but you do not use your learning technique in alignment with you. You know that, you love hearing stuff when you learn, but you don't really practice it when you're supposed to be learning. So do some more research on that. If you don't know about this whole learning technique thing, then find out exactly what obviously practice makes perfect, and but you already, I would assume that you already kind of, as I was explaining all of these learning techniques, you already know where you might fall, which category you might fall in, but just do some more research on that and find out exactly how you can maximize your study time and be excelling. So the final takeaway from this video is that at the end of the day, whatever that you do, whatever learning technique style that you fall under, you need to study. So there's this ABC method. I don't know if you guys know about it. Apply bum to chair. You just need to apply your bum to the chair and study. That is just, at the end of the day, what's gonna get you through. And all these other techniques are just ways to support your learning technique, but at the end of the day, you still need to sit down and study everything, and make your learning technique work for you, but still sit down and study. And I just want you guys to always remember that you've really got this. It's really fine. You're smart, you're good. Like, everyone is smart. We're just all very smart in our own ways. Seriously, that's what I'm saying. Like, the whole study technique, maybe you have not tapped into your thing yet, and maybe that's what has been the problem. But if you do study and you understand the type of personality that you have, you should be fine. Honestly, seriously, you should be fine, you know. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Like we said in a previous video, it's very important to not struggle by yourself and not to allow your your environment to suffocate you and not help you succeed. So just communicate with your family that this is very important, because at the end of the day they are paying for your school and they want the good results at the end of the day, but they also need to be supportive of your good results. So it all starts today. Not a miracle thing that's gonna happen in like 10 years time. No, everything is a result of the effort that you put in. So nothing is in vain. So at this moment you're studying, but it's not in vain. You're studying to better your situation and your family's situation, and the lives of other people as well. And yeah, so let's take what we have right now, this opportunity of studying, very important. The fact that you have even something to be studying it's a privilege, and you should realize the privilege that you have. The fact that you can just open up a book and learn something, that is power, And just as a close, I want to motivate you a little bit and let you know that you is kind, you is smart, you is important. I love that quote. I actually heard it for the first time on what's this? The Help. You've got this. And like I said, we don't have much time left. It is now August. We're almost in September. The year is basically over. So you need to do your best like you've never done. Put in everything, and it shows at the end of the day. At the end of the day, regardless of the outcome, when you've done your best, you are satisfied. The thing about having not done your best is that you regret, and there's nothing as painful as regret. Rather suffer the pain rather than regret later, right? It's always great not having regrets, even though something did not go as planned, but when you've done your best, and at the end of the day what else could you have done, right? So yeah, the fact that you've done your best, and I'm always thinking about you. I'm always thinking about you, and I really hope that you do well. I hope you guys are good and you've been great, and I will check you guys in the next video. Bye.